What's going on, everybody? So I'm used to like doing the countdown, the whole countdown thing. Vish, listen, if you're gonna do things right, if you're gonna do this, you gotta do it the right way.
Hey
All
man,
right, we gotta have the
I'm
countdown,
not our
man.
Jumping
athletic
straight into
department. I
it.
go in there, I don't do the frill stuff. I go in there and I do a job, man. I'm
This is
not wasting
no,
time like the
this
athletic
is no
department.
frill, no
You go
frills,
in there,
no
you hire
frills.
No
someone.
warning,
No
nothing.
frills. Yeah, don't stop.
Oh man, this is awesome. What's going on, everybody? Paul, listen, the enemy. It looks like the enemy is on the show, but he's just really trying to mourn the loss of Mario
Yeah,
Cristobal in Oregon. Straight up, by the way, straight out of Portland, Oregon, too. So he's got the scoop. He's gonna tell us everything we need to know, and make sure that Manny flies over here. So I wish.
sort
Paul,
of, sort of.
good to have you, man. Good to have you back on the show, man. It's been a long time.
I'm honestly very excited for what's going on, even though I'm kind of anxious. But yeah, I'm glad to be back.
And by the way, you've got nice headset, and the voice sounds good. You don't sound like crap. This is nice. This is a
I don't
change.
sound like a robot, thank
Now that
God.
you're over there, you're settled in Portland. Now you're getting good gear. I like that. Man.
Yes.
And of
Gotcha.
course, Vish. Hey man, you're a good guy, but
Yeah, but come on.
that guy in the knee, I mean, needs no introduction. What's going on, Blue? How are you, buddy?
Doing good. Last time we were in this room, we had somebody with a Nebraska shirt on. Now Oregon.
Nah,
Someone.
sure.
Yeah, you're going to
Unbelievable.
confuse everybody.
We continue to let these guys get in the show. I don't understand what's going on here, but whatever, man. It's all good. Listen, look, I actually wanted to start off with transfer portal stuff because there's a lot of things going on in the transfer portal. But listen, we can't really ignore what just happened, right? As Manny Navarro just broke some news. Manny Navarro from the Athletic, which, by the way, sneak peek may be coming on the show with us in a little bit. So whoever's watching now, stay tuned for that because he is going to be on. Hopefully, he's going to try to make it on in a little bit to talk a little bit about that and other things. But yeah, Eddie Nunez, apparently the athletic director for University of New Mexico, who was in the running, had apparently, according to a couple different media outlets, been interviewed a second time for this position. Apparently, seems to have taken his hat out of the his name out of the mix, right? His hat out of the race here per se. For this athletic director position here. That could mean a lot of it could be a lot of things, right? Could mean that the Canes have finally zeroed in on their guy. Could mean that they're going to continue to make a mockery out of this damn program and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So, I mean, or something in between.
Well,
who the hell knows anymore?
I think it's probably like one of a few things.
Right.
It could also be just the whole power. I mean, we've all had a lot of like reports about like a power sharing thing, and maybe he just didn't want to do that. Could be something around that. There's things that it could be, but like it also could. Hopefully, it's not the case that he got a load of how our board of trustees behaved and just said hell no with that. Which is I think what the goal has been with some of these absurd leagues coming out is to create that appearance of a mess and turn off candidates.
And that's what it is. It's more of an appearance, right? And
Right.
it seems to be working because the truth is, like, the people that are making these decisions that are in power, like the legit people that are in power, at least from what I'm hearing, like they're not playing around, they're not messing around, they're keeping everything, as my boy Flo likes to say, they're keeping everything 100. And they're really doing things the right way. And Vish, you know about that because he says keeping it 100, right? So I want to do a segment, by the way. I want to do a segment with Flo on the show one day and just we're going to call it Keeping It 100 with Flo. That's it, right? Like, that'll work perfectly. It'll be great. That'll be awesome, must watch. So, but yeah, like, it seems to be working. And I don't care. I have no shame. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or hide it. But it seems to be this little man, David Epstein, who was part of the board of trustees, that seems to be throwing a wrench in this and really screwing things up. Blue, I kind of want to get your take on the whole athletic director, situation going on because we really haven't spoken a lot about it. We know, obviously, I think the last time we spoke, actually, the time that we spoke, I came on your show, Blake James had just been fired. So it's been a while since we talked about this. A lot of moving pieces, a lot of different things going on. I know they're interviewing a whole bunch of guys. We could probably throw names out there. We all know the names, but there's probably other names that we don't know. Talk to me a little bit about what you feel, how you feel about this whole situation with the athletic director and what direction you can kind of see the Hurricanes going in.
For some reason, I don't know what it is about Miami, but whether it's a head coach or an athletic director or whatever it may be, they stretch this crap as long as they can all the time. And it puts all these people who want to be the first to break everything in the mode of just coming up with lies and crap and rumors that where do they hear stuff from? And this is what I'm saying. The USC coaching position, the LSU coaching position, the Florida coaching position are all filled. Nobody had to anticipate. Nobody had to wait. They just did it because they had instincts about all the guys that took, and even Oklahoma is about to be filled. So
yep, that's right. Brent, it looks like Brent Venables is going to be the guy over there at Oklahoma.
My point is,
by the way, Notre Dame was filled also. Marcus Freeman took the position.
Exactly, Marcus Freeman, perfect. But because of the fact that when you talk about people who really know what they want, as soon, and I'll contend this Blake James thing has been festering for a long time. You just don't get up one morning and say, you know what, his ass is gone. You don't. It had to be a huge amount of time to prepare for this. So in the interim, you got to go, hey, Johnny, if you know of anybody that's, a candidate. So they should have had like a NFL draft day order in mind of candidates that they really wanted. And, and that's what I'm saying. This whole thing boggles my mind because they needed to get that AD in yesterday or 10 days ago. And I'm just saying,
they had plenty of time to do it. To this point,
Here's
the
what
Florida
I think
State game was the domino. Was the last domino. It wasn't the first one. And so they should have, and they had 2 weeks. They shouldn't even be interviewing candidates anymore. They should have taken care of all that.
Should have been done.
I don't understand how we're getting to this point.
Everybody
has to be
else
the interference.
Keep a secret. Why is it that everybody else can keep a secret nationally except the gossipy area in South Florida?
Well, for a few reasons. Number one,
makes no sense.
Number one, because it's Miami, right?
It's everywhere.
It's
It's all cheese-man.
Look at LA.
Yeah, it's
you know what?
unbelievable.
LA has trillions of people. You don't think that USC, the Lincoln, that news
that was
didn't?
Pretty impressive. That was pretty impressive how they did.
Well, you know what?
But
so is Valley going to LSU. I mean,
they have an AD in place. They have an AD in place. I mean, I think that changes a lot of things. I think that the pushback and the crap that we're trying to avoid, all the crap with the board of trustees and how they're bumping heads with Frank and Rudy Fernandez and all these people that are trying to make the decision, I think is causing this. And you're seeing the turmoil. You're seeing the by the way, time out real quick. Sorry, Chug my beer. By the way, the best Canes guy on YouTube and everywhere else. Big ups to you, my brother. Thanks for the $5 dono. Great panel, guys. Smash the like button and support the channel. By the way, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the 5 Region Sports YouTube channel and also on the YouTube network as well on YouTube. This guy brings up a good point too, Ben. What's the rush now if all the jobs have been taken and the top 2 guys are still available? Yeah, again, we're not even talking about the coaching job right now. Number one, because unfortunately Manny still has that job, right? So it's not like we can do anything without an AD in place, anyways. I totally understand.
He's got a 2-year left on his contract, so
yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them not announcing a head coach yet because, as he mentions, the top 2 guys are still available. The other jobs have not affected what I think the Hurricanes are trying to do anyways in regards to who they want to pick, because they weren't in the running to get Lincoln Riley. They weren't in the running for Marcus Freeman. They weren't in the running for Brian Kelly or Brent Venables. None of those guys were the guys that Miami was looking at either way. And quite frankly, I think that if we would have targeted any of those guys, I mean, this would be a complete shit show either way, because everybody'd be like, why are we targeting those guys? We don't want Marcus Freeman. We don't want Brent Venables. Look at it. He's, they're on the downswing. I mean, it's going to happen anyways, right? Whether we get Mario, whether we get Lane, whether we get, it doesn't matter. Nick Saban, it doesn't matter, right? We're going to, it's going to happen anyways. So, look, you're right in the thick of it there, Paul, over there in Portland, man. Talk to me. Tell me what first of all, I really want to hear if you're hearing anything in that area as far as what they're talking about regarding Mario, but also I want to get your take on the athletic director position.
I mean, I'm 2 hours north of Eugene.
It doesn't
So,
matter. You're in Oregon. God damn it.
But obviously, like I've kind of just been watching this whole thing kind of unfold from a distance, kind of just lurking, and I find it funny, but I also find it very, I guess, confusing too, just because like I feel like, if Miami truly is committed to winning, and especially from a football standpoint, they would have found a way to give Cristobal whatever he wanted, and this is going off rumors also too. Like I'm not assuming anything, but like if they have talked to Cristobal, if they've been in his ear, then I feel like, and they're truly committed to not just competing, but also winning a national championship one day. I feel like they should have already given the keys to Cristobal and given him everything he wanted. Now, it's a good thing you guys brought up too, because I feel like with the board of trustees, we mentioned Epstein kind of basically kind of making this a lot messier than it really is. That's why it's a really confusing situation for Miami right now, because I feel like it's so much. It's been a long time of basically just, I guess I don't want to say being cheap, but like basically just expecting a lot while equipping the coach and just even just the football program with as like not as least many resources as possible, just not enough resources, and I think that I feel like they need to really, it's good that President Frank is kind of realizing that there is potential in the growth of the school through athletics, if like the popularity, because I remember thinking about that, what was it, like 0809 when UF won back-to-back titles in football, and then the basketball team did really. I remember like all my friends thinking like, yo, I want to go to UF because of this. Like everyone thought UF was like the greatest school in Florida just because off of that, and they got super popular. And I find it very, I don't know, it's kind of really interesting how Cristobal is really considering Miami just off the fact that he is at Oregon. I mean, he has that seven-figure deal on the side with Phil Knight at Nike. It's like, what more can you ask for? But I feel like I'm still a little worried that Miami will find a way to screw this up. Of course, like you hear the rumors about them potentially keeping, as Twitter put it, Danny Diaz, as some people are putting it.
Danny Diaz.
Yeah. And that would really, like I mentioned to you guys earlier, that really would disappoint me, and it would just make me feel like that they are still just settling and thinking that the same processes that they've used the past 3 years are going to lead to different results come next year or something, when I just haven't seen that much growth in the program at all. And then with considering how much talent is on the team, like it's still like, why are we going to settle again for another 7-5 season?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's really disappointing. And for the AD, I mean, it's the same situation too, where just like, I don't know, I'm truly trying to understand what the board of trustees, or even just the people up top want in an AD. And I don't know, and the whole thing with the search firm and everything, like how, like if they were considering I think Tom Jurich, the AD at Louisville, and like if they were considering him, then the search firm was going to just drop out of this. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's so messy.
Yeah, it's a mess. Yeah. It's a mess. Because
they can never do anything right.
Yeah,
they never do anything right.
It's true. It's true. Before we get back into the AD stuff, we got a couple of questions here about the coaches again. Who are the other G-Men's 13 asks? Who's the other candidates outside of the top two? Well, look, number one, I mean, it's really Mario and Lane or bust, but there's been talks of other guys, right? Mark Stoops is one of them. I know I see that he mentions here that he likes Mark Stoops. He just got a contract extension at UK, so he's not going anywhere. And then Tom Herman, Vish, I know we were talking about this. Yes, you spoke about this yesterday on Mac's show, but we've spoken about Tom Herman also, about him maybe as a possible offensive coordinator candidate. Will he take a job as a coach somewhere? Possibly, but I think he's going to be along the road of trying to get his name out there again, prove that he can kind of climb up again and be a head coach. I think he'd be a great candidate as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think definitely great as an offensive coordinator. I think the G-Men's here is talking about maybe as a head coaching candidate. I don't necessarily have a problem with that if we go through, our other kind of top choices. Like, I think he did a solid job at Texas. Like, they fired him and they're way worse now. And so I don't know that necessarily went as bad, and he had a big rebuild there. So I don't necessarily like have a big problem with him, and he was successful at Houston as well. So there is some track record there, but certainly wouldn't be my top choice.
By the way, the Godfather here,
Yes.
The Godfather Alfredo Artiaga, with the dono. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. If Mario doesn't immediately say yes, I don't waste another second and offer Lane Kiffin the job. I want a guy. Yeah, no. Listen,
I'm with that.
Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm of the belief. Here's how I feel. I don't know if this is true. I don't know. This is my opinion. This has been spoken about before, but I feel like right now, as someone else mentioned, and we'll talk about it. Mario is a very respectable person. Okay, he's a respectful guy. He's not going to just go out there and start talking trash. He's not Brian Kelly. I hate to say it, but he's not that kind of guy, right? He's going to wait for everything to kind of, come about the right way. He's going to wait till after the championship game, all those things. Plus, Manny Diaz hasn't been fired yet, guys. So we can't do anything anyways. That's number one. Number two, here's the thing with Manny. I think both Mario and Lane have some sort of understanding or agreement that has already been put in place, right? And once all the rest of the dominoes fall, and we hire the AD, and everything starts to kind of get in motion and go, I think you're going to start seeing, well, hey, if it's not Mario, it's Lane. I think both of them know what's going on. Look, if you notice, Mario and Lane both have not signed their contract extensions, and they've been offered extensions. Okay, so that tells you a lot. Number one. Number two, for everybody that thinks that Manny might get a second shot, I'm almost 100% sure he's not, and this is why. This is one of the other reasons I think so. Okay, we haven't heard about them talking about anything about replacing Rhett Lashley, Rob Likens, who's probably going to be gone and take the OC position at SMU, Garen Justice, who's supposedly going to go with Lashley as well, and a couple other guys. They haven't spoken about finding a new OC. They're going to have to find a new DC. I guarantee that. Okay, they're going to have to do that also. So you haven't heard any of that stuff yet. Okay, so keep that in mind when you think that. First of all, that's number one. Number two is what OC, what running back, what wide receivers coach, what O-line coach is going to come here and coach under a guy like Manny Diaz right now, when we know that this is his last hurrah. That's it. And if he screws this, hypothetically speaking, if he screws this up, he's gone, and so is everybody else. Who really wants to do that? You got to think about all these things. I don't think he's coming back at all, no matter what.
Some position coach that's hungry.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, then we're stuck in the same position.
So to Blue's point, you'll get someone to take the job. But if you're looking at, go ahead. No,
or an OC that wants to get into a Power 5, like a
Frank Ponce or something like that.
Like Frank Ponce is a good example.
I don't even know that he would do that, because you're sitting here at the situation where if somehow Manny does not get fired, which it's going to be a disaster at this point, because the writing's on the wall here with his tenure, even if he somehow sticks around another year. Jazz mentioned all the coaches he's going to have to hire. The recruiting class has 8 commits in it. This is bad, and you're going to try and keep him in this. And let's be real, there's a very good chance we go and get killed in this bowl game. You're going to keep him, be like, this is our guy, and then go lose to a 6-6 Pac-12 team or something, and it's just like this is going to be really bad.
7-5 Pac-12.
Yeah.
Or UF. Might lose to UF.
UF without a coach, right?
And so they'll get Washington State in the Sun Bowl, pretty much.
The usual.
But then, so you're going to have this dynamic where everyone knows this new AD, for some reason he's forced to keep Manny, is going to quick trigger fire him as soon as he can. And so who's going to sign up for that? You're going to get, there might be some people ambitious, this will at least get my foot in the door on the P5, but you're not going to get the cream of the crop. And we actually had an amazing offensive coordinator. He got a head coaching job out of it, and we won 7 games.
Right.
So we're in trouble. This is you can't bring him back. This is such a disaster if you bring it back.
There's obviously a lot behind that. Anthony Manzano, panel, your thought if and when the new AD is announced and they hire Mario, my 2 combinations for OC and DC are Chadwell Muschamp and Kitley and Raymond. Okay, so number 1, Corey Raymond's not going anywhere. He's already been retained by Brian Kelly. That's number 1. Number 2, I like Kitley. I think he's a nice option. He's a hot name out there right now. If you can put it back up there real quick, Vish. I totally lost it. Kitley's a nice option. He's the offensive coordinator over at Western Kentucky. He runs a nice program. Some say that maybe his running schemes aren't the best, but
But
I
this would
like
be a good
Kitley.
opportunity for
It
him.
would, and he can. I think he can do a lot with this.
Yeah.
With this team. Okay. The other combination. I'm assuming he's talking about Jamie Chadwell from Coastal Carolina. He's a head coach. You think he's gonna come to? He's gonna come to be an OC? Anthony, no way, no chance in hell there. Although I love Jamie Chadwell, I think he's a nice coach. I think he's gonna want a Power 5 head coaching job if he moves from Coastal Carolina. And then Muschamp, yeah, I think Vish, you like Will Muschamp as well as defensive coordinator. I think that would be a nice move. Some people don't like him. I think he's a hell of a defensive coordinator. He can recruit a little bit. He's a Power 5 guy. He's has head coaching.
He's
experience.
arrogant, which helps.
And he's arrogant. Yeah, he's arrogant. He definitely is arrogant, and I'm fine with that. I think he'd fit well with either Mario or Lane. And I think Lane's going to have to bring in a hell of a defensive coordinator as well, as we all know that hasn't always been his strong suit. But I think if he brings the right guys in, he'll be fine. But
yeah, and I might be overreacting a little to the current, I guess, my current issues with the current way the program is run. But I am all in on guys that are going to bring toughness,
right,
and kind of some accountability and responsibility, because I don't think we've had much of that. It's been a lot of buddies with the head coach stuff going on, and Muschamp fits that as well. He's one of those you'd kind of hate to work for them, but also you'd respect them type of people, and I think we need that versus I'd like to go have a beer with this guy. Like this is there needs to be that dynamic there of healthy respect / fear, and not buddies with the coaching staff. And
absolutely.
And again, I might just be overreacting to the current dynamic, but that's what's and obviously Muschamp has coached championship defenses. Like this is someone that's in definitely qualified and a strong defensive coordinator. But I definitely would, frankly, I want a little bit of that meanness in our coaches.
Oh yeah.
Like when Lashley lost his mind when I think we called timeout when we didn't get the play in correctly, and that was like the first time you saw one of our coaches blow up in like 4 years and just get upset, right? It's just like, and not that they need to do that every game, because if you do that every game all the time, it loses value. But there needs to be that balance, and we've been so much on the side of everyone have a good time. I don't think we're taking the football as seriously as we should.
Real quick, I'm going to get to this question from Alexander Bravo. Why did Mario leave Miami when he was Titans coach? And why, when he was with when he came for Golden, and why did he get fired from FIU? So the first one, I'll answer the latter first. From FIU, he had a terrible relationship with Pete Garcia. Pete Garcia was not a good guy to work for. So they had it out. At the end of the day, that's what it was. And Pete Garcia made a huge mistake. Because he definitely should have kept Mario on.
That's largely thought of as basically. I know we've
the
since
basic
lost
reason why. Right.
Yeah, but I know we've since lost to this program, so we have to be a little bit humble here. But that is really seen as like a complete screw up by FIU, and that has set their football program back.
That's one bad season too. Just one bad season, and they just fired him.
Yeah, it's a Pete Garcia effect. That's what it was. And then why did he leave here? Well, number one, him and Golden didn't get along either. That's a secret that everybody knows. They didn't get along. He got here and he noticed what kind of a shit show was being ran with guys like D'Onofrio and all those guys. So and then he got
someone called.
And then a guy named Nick Saban called and said, "I want you on my team. I'm going to pay you like an offensive coordinator to be an O-line coach, and then be the best recruiter in the country as well. So and then win national championships also. So yeah, come on down. So he did that. That's why he left the Kings. I don't blame him for doing that. So I know we kind of got pissed off when he did it, but at the end of the day, the truth is, right, hindsight's 20/20, but it was the right move.
I think the thing with that was he did it so quickly. I think that's what rubbed people
right.
wrong. I think in a vacuum, saying I'm going to go work for Nick Saban, no one would really be like, what is he doing? I think it was that he was here for I think it was
6 weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks, maybe a month or something like that, and then he was gone. But then again, knowing what we know about Al Golden, I feel like he lasted quite a long time.
Yep.
I don't know how anyone can stand that. I mean, we've all worked jobs and worked for people, and when your boss is full of it is very difficult. And someone like Mario, who's a no BS person, I could see why 6 weeks in, he's like, I gotta get out of here.
No kidding, man.
So I think that's just, you said rubbed the wrong way. Mario's attitude does not light up with someone that's gonna BS you all the time, and that was Golden's move.
All right, so before we get into the transfer portal stuff, because I see some of that coming in now on the chat. Real quick, I want to kind of go around the horn here. What's up, Danny? I didn't even mention you, man. What's going on?
How we doing? How you guys doing?
Look, you and Paul swapped places today. He's wearing an Oregon shirt, so
I know we did.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Good to see you, Paul. Long time no see.
I know, right?
Likewise, man. Likewise.
He's got the scoop, by the way. He's got the scoop on everything.
Yeah,
regarding
Mario lives next door. Actually, I don't know if you guys ever heard.
Keep your head like that because you're blocking that light.
I know this light is ridiculous. This light is absolutely ridiculous.
Looks like the freaking sun. The sun's in your
there. It is.
There you
go.
There you go.
A little better.
If you take that red Nebraska sweatshirt and put it in front of the light, you might get some cool
You look like an angel.
effects.
So you do look like an
Don't
angel.
bring Gary, what's his name, in here that asked if this was a Nebraska show last week. Don't bring him back in here, please.
You're
gonna get him.
down,
You're gonna get him going. You're gonna get him going, and then I'll never live it down.
I don't think you are, man. I think it's gone now.
Yeah, I agree.
Real quick, I want to go around the horn on this. AD head coach, and then even give me OC and DC guys that you want, not guys that you think are going to happen, right? I want to start with Paul on this one.
There's
Gary. There's Gary.
He was looking in the shadows. Definitely happening.
Gary was waiting for you to say something, Danny.
Thank you, Gary. Good to see you. Good to see you as always.
Oh man.
Thank you for tuning in.
Wait, are we talking OCDC?
I want your AD, your top AD, who you want at AD, and then your head coach, OC, and DC.
Damn, realistically.
Yeah, realistically.
Well, can I just head coach? I'm all in on Mario. I have the most reasoning behind Mario as head coach, just because I really am excited to see what he can do if you give him the keys to the Porsche. Like, to me, it's the perfect setup where hometown guy, strong recruiting ties down here or over there in South Florida. Sorry.
Yeah, watch him out.
Just I'm sorry. His circle around him is just guys that he's very, very familiar with. Like, I think even the higher ups too are all Columbus grads as well. And I feel like if the athletic department is kind of turning the page with really showing a commitment to improving the football program, it's going to start with Mario. And from there, maybe, he's going to really be like, okay, this is where I'm going to show out. This is really, especially with him considering that he's leaving a great program like Oregon to come to Miami, I think he's really just going to make the most out of it and, just hire the guys he wants. Like, he's going to, because I think one of the drawbacks with him is that he wanted reassurance from whoever the higher ups are, saying that, like, okay, will you allow me to hire the coordinators that I want? Will you really truly equip me with the resources I need to be successful? And if Miami's committed to doing that, then I'm really excited to see. And I think honestly, I'd be fine with Lane as well. I feel like you guys mentioned earlier, Lane also is a very fiery coach. He's a good mix of fiery coach, but also a guy that you could kick it with. And I think I don't know. I've just been very curious about what Miami's practice habits are, as to why they're not tackling well during games, like what the hell is going on in practice. I feel like Lane will definitely try to push them as much as he can. With AD, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of disappointed about the Nunez thing, just because, another Miami guy would be cool, would be nice. I think I'll admit with OC and DC, I haven't been following that as much. I just feel like I'm very, very more concerned about just who they hire as head coach and AD, because I feel like with that, the dominoes will start to fall, and they could really figure out who fits well within, I guess, who would fall under, Mario. So I would trust whoever Mario wants at this point.
Okay. So you don't want to give me a name. That's good. Blue, we'll go with you. What are you thinking? What are you thinking on the AD front, and give me a head coach?
Well, I saw Vish going. He almost came through the screen when you mentioned to keep Manny. I saw that.
I can't even imagine sitting through that.
He was just trying to contain himself in the biggest way, but unfortunately, he's got 2 years left. I just keep him next year and see what happens because you lose either way. I really believe it because you're going to have to reshuffle everything. You're going to lose recruits. This way, you could always tell everybody, hey, listen, they didn't re-sign him. They said, why are they going to re-sign him? He's got 2 years left. There's 58 coaches right now in America with 2 years left on a contract that haven't been re-signed. So that's what I'm trying to say. You can still keep your recruits for next year if he doesn't do well. And I think they're going to do really well. I really do. I mean, they got a quarterback find of the century. They got a 2021 class that has been unbelievable, plugging holes. They're gonna hit the portal, like Manny authored this. Listen, it's not a personality thing with me. I'm just tired of spending money on people who are leaving and pushing this reset button. If we're gonna push it, let's ride the damn thing all the way out. That's what I say. AD wise, they come in, they're gonna make a decision. That AD has to have some time to get acclimated with every sport. So if I hear Alonzo Highsmith or Bernie Kosar or any of those names, I'll kill myself again because those guys are finding tough time balancing their checkbook, let alone running 14 NCAA sports and worrying about if Katie Meyer has protective pads for her women and all this stuff. They don't know crap.
Well, here's the thing.
They want to, but hear me out. They want to add them to the football program. Gino and Alonzo and everybody who has been vocal, get their ass paid and let them be part of the football program. But don't bring them in there when the main deal for an athletic director is a fundraising. And you've got to get somebody who's used to it. Somebody from Duke, from Virginia, 1-2 in the ACC in overall sports, 1-2 overall, basketball, soccer, everything.
And they just fired their head coach.
People like that who have fundraised at private colleges and gotten millions and trillions. That's who you look for. Not a popularity contest every time a damn job opens. Let's bring in Ed Reed to do to be a head coach. He's never coached a goddamn down in his life, but let's bring him in here on a Power 5 situation. Manny Diaz has gotten a big time, and Vish, I'll play to you on this one. He, like nobody else, has gotten an opportunity that no one else would have had because he's got a Power 5 job as his first job. I'll introduce you 10 people like Campbell and guys like that who have busted their ass all these years to try to get to that next level. And he's got an opportunity. I say ride his ass out. I don't know who's out there that's going to be the perfect AD. Whoever they decide on, bring them in there. But I say keep Manny for this next year, and then let them go the next year if they win 10 games next year. Just my opinion.
Vish, before you go, I will say this when it comes to recruiting, Blue. They've got the 60th rated recruiting class in the country with only 8 guys.
Too much uncertainty.
Yeah.
They're flying goddamn banners every time somebody makes a mistake. They wanted the freaking Dolphin coach out. They want everybody out. They don't understand the ramifications of pushing that reset button. Every time you do that, you take your program back 5 years. And if you bring in a coach like Mario Cristobal, who has not recruited down here in 11 years, he doesn't have any clue who these people are down here anymore. He's lost touch. He's better off where he's at, and they'll never afford him because I will tell you this. Phil Knight will write a check that you guys have never seen in your life because this guy is an iconic figure in that part of the country right now. They'll name that Marioville if they have to. I mean, this guy is going to be able to play his Pac-12 schedule plus an Ohio State, Texas A&M in 2 years. Watch those type of teams. That's the way I feel. You got to get yourself a coach. And how does it always work out? Randy Shannon can't even come back on campus because he came here and coached and didn't do very well. So he feels, and there's a lot of alumni that don't like him because of things like that. Rick Neuheisel at UCLA. I can go on and on. How good is it for somebody to come back? I think he's doing real well where he's at. And why people keep pressing these names, you got to get somebody who knows this area. Lane Kiffin would be great, but he'll quit on your ass in 3 years, and I'll bet you all $100 on that. No doubt. No matter where he is, that's what he is. He gets tired of situations. Maybe a mastermind, but you're going to get those recruits all excited, and you're going to go through this every 3 years. Get somebody who's going to be here for the long term. Get somebody who's going to build. You know what? You could change your offensive and defensive coordinators, but keep your head coach. Bobby Bowden did it for years. Joe Paterno, all those years, they were interchanging people around them, and that's what has to happen down here.
Well, here's the thing, Blue. Here's what I'll say before Vish goes on. How many coaches stay at one place for more than 3 or 4 years, anyways. Ever. I mean, you
outside
got
of
Nick,
Virginia
you
Tech,
got Nick,
not
you
very
got
many.
you got Nick Saban and Mike Gundy, and maybe a guy like Fitzgerald or Whittingham.
Dabo Sweeney.
Those guys aren't winning anything. Yeah, Dabble Sweeney, right? Those guys aren't winning anything, right? So, for me, the whole argument of, well, you need a guy that's going to stay. Everybody leaves. Like, look, Mario hasn't stayed anywhere for longer than 4 years. This is his 4th year in Oregon. He was 3 years there. He was 4 years at FIU. He was 3 years at Alabama.
But he's never had anything like he's got now. The deal right now will put him up over what Kelly made. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee you right now.
Maybe, but why isn't he there? Why isn't he there already? He's the 5th highest paid coach in his own conference right now.
So
he's still in the middle of this contract. Remember?
So, yeah, you can always give him an extension, though.
Well,
right?
You know what? That would be something after the season.
They gave him one last, and they're offering him one now again. He still hasn't signed it yet. So I don't know.
Well,
I mean.
So
go ahead, Vish. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna respectfully disagree with Blue on that.
That's
and,
okay.
And I'm as passionate that Manny has to go as you are that he should stay. I do agree with you. We jumped the gun a little bit on fire the coach, but in actuality, we've not let. I mean, Rick retired, but we've like Golden definitely was a year too long. He lost his last 4 games in year 4, and the team finished I think 6-7. Brought him back like that was a mistake. I think the problem we have is the coaches we are hiring aren't good. Like, we've not, you mentioned that this was a great opportunity for Diaz. It's because Temple was his level at that point in his career. Now, maybe we were going to, catch a rising star there and get lucky that we basically got a great P5 coach that had no experience, but it turns out we didn't. Like, I've not seen any evidence that this program is moving anywhere in the right direction. And I understand that it is upheaval. You're right. I think we view fire the coach as a magic elixir. Fire the coach, everything will be great. We've done it for 20 years. It's not working. So I understand that stability, but stability here is gone already. You're right. The uncertainty is hurting the recruiting, but it's also we have to overhaul. The best part of this team this last year was the offense, and we lost the offensive coordinator. Like, so we're gonna have changes coming anyway. And to me, to do them with a coach that's very much on the hot seat, that everyone knows is on the hot seat, that knows might be gone, it's going to have a new boss. Regardless of Manny's here, we have a new AD. So that's just such a toxic situation. I don't think even if he was up to the job, which I don't believe he is based on his 3 years here, I don't think in that environment he's going to be set up to succeed anyway. I think we're just kicking the can down the road a year. And to me, given that we have to replace coaches anyway, and our best coach left. I would have rather had Lashley become the head coach than have Manny coach another year, to be honest. But I think our best coach left, and now we're trying to replace him. We do have a lot of good young players. I don't want to waste that because we've been here before. We've had these, like, the 2008 class from Northwestern. That 2008 season actually was very similar to this one. That was the one where Marv played part of the year and Jacory played part of the year, and they started getting together. They started winning close games, and they almost won the ACC, and they got blown out by Georgia Tech on that game. But they went to the bowl game. They played a Cal team in San Francisco as a lawn trip. They were down. They fought back, almost won, and we had all this hope. 2009, they got a little bit better, and then the bottom fell out. And we've just been there before, and I just don't see anything here that leads me to believe Manny will succeed here. And he's had chances, and he's done some extraordinarily awful things like lose to FIU, not score against Louisiana Tech. I mean, the FSU team he just lost to 2 weeks ago was awful. So I don't see it there. And I think we got to move on. And actually, I will caveat it with this. If I honestly, I think he's got to go regardless. But if they're not going to invest resources in the new coach, not just in the coach, in his staff, and commit to the program, we're going to be, to Blue's point, we're going to be right back here in 3 years being like, we got to fire this guy. Because the guy they bring in is going to be the newest version of Manny Diaz, someone that we've reached down a level to try and pull because we don't want to compete top dollar-wise. The one thing I'll say with Mario is we can offer something that no one else can, which is this is where he's from. His wife's family's from here. Most of his family is still here. His mom is here. His brother is still here. Like, so there's a lot of that I don't know how important that is to him, to be honest. But if that is, nothing they can do in Oregon can match that. The second thing is they didn't keep Willie Taggart there when Florida State came calling. So I don't. We keep ascribing this. They're gonna write a blank check. They never really do that. They're kind of in this. We're above it because we got money. We can. They're actually kind of the opposite of what people think. Just throw the money at the head coach. They spend on assistants. They always have great assistant coaches. That's why Helfrich was able to, keep the thing running when Chip Kelly left. So they actually do a really good job of kind of funding the whole department, which is why I think Mario looks over at the way we do that, and it's kind of like, no, you better give me free reign and commitment to spending, because what he gets at Oregon is that commitment to the whole program. But he himself is not, as Jazz says, like the fifth highest paid coach in the Pac-12. But they invest in the program. But they obviously it was to the NFL when Chip Kelly went, so it was a little bit different. But they let Willie Taggart walk out to FSU. They didn't write him a blank check. They kind of just said go. We're not competing with that. Now I don't know if that's different now because you look at the job market now and these contracts getting given out. They're probably maybe they're more desperate to hold their coach this time. But I think he is gettable. Now whether or not, to Blue's point, he still has those connections to recruit locally, I think he'll be fine in that regard. But obviously Blue knows a hell of a lot more about recruiting than I do, so certainly won't challenge that. But I do think he's gettable because it would be very easy for him to shut that down very easily by just saying, I'm going to be here. I know I hear rumors. The Miami job's not even open, but even if it is, I would not go there. And it would be done. And he's not doing that.
And by the way, something just happened now in California, down there in the beautiful city of Los Angeles. They hired a guy named Lincoln Riley, who is now going to build a monster. For all intents and purposes, he's going to build a monster at USC. So now the guys that Mario got easily in California, it's going to be that much harder to pull them now from USC because everybody's going to want to go to USC, right? Like we all call USC the Miami of the West Coast, right? So I feel like it's the same kind of concept is now USC. You've already seen the movement of Malachi Nelson decommitting from Oklahoma and committing 2 days later over there to USC.
But he should have gone to USC in the first place. He lives 17 miles.
Yeah, he probably should have. That's true. That's true. But he committed to who? It was to Lincoln Riley, right? And not only that, he's got two other 5-star quarterbacks there, and Jackson Dart and Keaton Slovis. He's got a good program there already.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to keep some of those coaches still intact. They're going to create an absolute monster over there at USC. I think it's going to make them that much tougher because people don't realize that Mario has he's still one of the best recruiters in the country. He's picked up the top player in 9 different states because Oregon doesn't have any players. So I mean,
you're taking shots at Paul like that?
Wow, Jazz.
Hey man, I didn't coach those guys. Don't leave me out of this.
Paul might be a 5-star. Paul might be a 5-star if he played a little football there. Oh, look at that! He's so sweet.
I appreciate that.
I like I said, I think Mario's gettable, and quite frankly, I think Miami will pay the money. Look, obviously, we've all heard the names, right, of the people that are backing Mario, backing this whole program, right? The Moss family, and then Johnny Ruiz, who, by the way, I coached his kid when he was playing travel ball down here. Johnny Ruiz before he went to UM. His dad is related to Mario by marriage. Okay, so that's and he's the one with the big bucks as well. So you've got all these guys. I think the Stuart Millers of the world are on board. Okay, the only guys that are not on board are guys like David Epstein, and obviously Senior, and those guys who are who obviously were supporters of Manny Diaz and Blake James. So that's why you're getting all this crazy information now, and it's looking like we're making a mockery out of this program, and that's what I don't like. That's what's going to continue to happen until Frank finally puts his foot down and says, "All right, we got our guy." Now, here's the question I have. Out of all of this, Larry, I want to start off with you first on the whole thing that Manny. I don't know if Manny Navarro is going to be able to come on, but
I just texted him to see. I said, "Come on the show." I said, give us some scoops.
So. Oh yeah, okay, awesome. Hopefully, he'll come on.
He gave us the scoop that derailed the answer I would have given to Jazz's question of who I wanted to be the athletic director. So,
there you go.
Right. So, but. Obviously, he did report that Eddie Nunez has taken his name out of the reins, taken his name out of the race for athletic director. Blue, what's your take on that? Do you think it's because he saw the just the cluster F of stuff that's going on right now with the power struggle, or is it because maybe they have someone maybe he took his name out of the race, but they finally got someone in place and they're going to start announcing very soon?
Yeah, that could be. That could be. I mean, you look at New Mexico. You talk about a place that it's easy to raise families. So I mean, that's probably he saw. Maybe he could add second thoughts. And maybe I don't want to go to a big city. Yeah, where Albuquerque's fine with me. I live in the suburbs. I'm fine. Miami's and plus, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, Miami in itself, look at the media, look at us, look at everybody picking apart everybody and telling you what you do. And as soon as you do something wrong, you're flying planes over the Joe Robbie Stadium there. Shoot, but whatever it is. I'll tell you this. I look at the situation, Jazz, especially the thing that bothers me the most, and I told you that, and it seems always to happen here, that you don't hear things because maybe it's a good thing, but you don't hear them for an extended period. Then all of a sudden someone's claimed to heard that somebody leaked something, and then we're running in circles. And then when they hire somebody, go, oh man, they should have never hired that guy. It's sort of like if you knew that they were going to hire him, would it be better? I mean, I think to myself, people are trying to, I've seen it. The Mark Richt thing was the best because before they hired him, I mean, everybody's name. We had, oh man, geez. We had NFL guys coming out of their jobs. So that's why I'm saying you got to see what's going to unfold. And I know we're jumping to the conclusions, and Vish is going to win out 100% because obviously the new AD is going to come in there and,
And by the way, Blue, I don't think
you're $200,000 right now, and I'll pay every other week for the rest of your life. So you got a Bobby Bonilla contract. Everybody that comes to Miami to have those rest of your life. We're still paying Al Golden off.
By the way,
no, he lost that lawsuit.
He did. Yeah.
Apparently, scheduling to play at FIU did not stand back his entire tenure here, which was his rationale that we set him up to fail because we made him play road games. So the judge called it meritless.
By the way, Blue, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Vish, Paul, Danny, I don't think anybody on this panel right here necessarily wants or thinks that Zoe is going to be the AD. I think he's going to come in some capacity for football. But I think what we were hearing, what a lot of us were hearing was it was going to be a combination of Nunez and Zoe together, and then Zoe kind of running football. However, I did also hear a couple things that, and some people did mention this, that Zoe's position now with Seattle is like 10 times harder than what it would be to be the AD at a college, even a Power 5 college. So considering what he does now, I think the transition to this position might be something that he can hold on and he can do a good job at. I just don't think that that's what he's going to come in for anyways. I still think you need a guy, even a guy like Gino, I don't know if he'll come in and be right away the head AD. Right. I think you need guys that can come in and do the fundraising. He could be an assistant AD and kind of work his way up and become the AD after whatever. So,
but, hey, getting back to what you were saying about Zoe, and I agree, maybe his position is really 10 times, but he's dealing with football and football only. Right. He's not dealing with rowing.
And that's why I think he won't be the AD.
He track and field.
Well, if we were to bring any like Gino or Zoe in as AD, they need to hire basically associate ADs to handle that other stuff because that other stuff is minutia.
Manny's coming on now. He says.
I'm looking for him. If he shows up, I'll put him in.
Awesome.
Hey Vish, but the only thing I say, but you still have to have. You still have to have a position for people to come on. I'd love to have all those guys football oriented. That would be great. But getting back to your recruiting thing, you're right. But now with the transfer portal, I don't think you have to be that great of a recruiter. You could get yourself 6-7 freshmen and fill the rest of your roster with kids that want to play and are ready. We can take a Rambo every year. That guy was as good as anybody in the country this year.
Nowadays, all you have to do is be a good talent identifier and see if if player X can fit into your program. I mean, you look at the amount of kids in the transfer portal. What was the number? Like over 2,000 or something crazy? Something absolutely nuts. Yeah, something absolutely nuts. So I think with the transfer portal becoming as big as it has been over the past couple of years, I think you're going to see recruiting not be less important, but teams are going to look to the portal more and more.
It's Oh, here we go. We got him on. Manny's coming on now. Manny, can you hear us? Manny, you there?
It looks like he froze. I can see him clearer in like the little box, and he's definitely in the stream, but he might have frozen.
He is in the stream, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the stream.
Yeah, but he's.
I just see a black
his
screen
face
on
is.
the
Yeah.
I'm alive,
Okay, there,
brother.
wait, it's coming in. There he is.
There he is.
Oh.
Hey guys, sorry, I'm in my car. I got my kids. Got my kids
That
running
looks
amok,
kind of
man.
shady to me. Jeez, what the heck?
Whoa, man, that's awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. Manny Navarro here from The Athletic. I appreciate it. Hope you had a great dinner. I'm sorry to bother you there with family, but we do appreciate you coming out for a few minutes, man, and
Absolutely.
talking to us a little bit here.
No problem, guys. What's going on? What do you got on your minds?
Oh man, what do we have on our minds, Manny? So obviously it's out there, right? You kind of reported the recently in the last couple hours or so the breaking news regarding Eddie Nunez taking his name out of the race for the athletic director position. We kind of all were talking a little bit about what we thought about that and why he kind of took his name out of the race. I think it's one of two things, and maybe you can kind of elaborate on this and kind of give us an idea, shed some light on it. But I think it's either A, he saw, the buffoonery that's going on right now with the power struggle and everything that's going on, right? We've all kind of talked about it ad nauseum, or they've got someone in place already. They're ready to go. They're going to pull the trigger soon, and he's kind of not the candidate, that they were going to go with. And maybe you can kind of shed some light on that.
Yeah, maybe I can give you the Manny Diaz answer, which is why can't it be both, right? He told me that many times in some of these Zoom interviews. Look, my understanding, they liked Eddie in the interview process. I think he was a very good candidate, but I couldn't. The way I phrased my article yesterday when I wrote about him, I didn't say he was the leading candidate or the top candidate. I said he was a top candidate because I honestly don't know where he was in the pecking order per se, but I do know that they liked him. I do know that they thought well of him. I do know that he's got a very good reputation. Greg Sankey, who's the SEC commissioner, I know he's a big fan of Eddie. I know he's been groomed for a job like Miami's for a long time and worked with some championship winning coaches. So I think from a outside perspective, he looked like a great candidate. I think ultimately he went through the process, and I think they're certainly, he was left with the impression in some ways that there was a lot of different voices, expressing different issues. And I think some of that might have turned him off. So I don't know that they ever reached a point where he was the guy or he was picked as the guy. I haven't been able to confirm that. But I do know they liked him a lot. And I think ultimately today, this morning, he called and told them that he was out.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm sure that there's a lot of names out there that are being thrown around, and obviously, I think we know that it's not as crazy or as the word I keep using is buffoonery, right? Like this mockery that's supposedly going on for this program. I know it's not really like that. I know there's only a select few guys that are trying to make it seem crazy and ridiculous and chaotic or dysfunctional, I guess is the word. And we really know it's not like that. I mean, do you think they're closing in on making a decision relatively soon, Manny?
Well, I mean, the only thing I know for sure is that they wanted to get the coaching situation resolved by early next week, Monday or Tuesday. And I know that, the way it seems to me is if they can get Mario Cristobal to agree to come down here and be the coach, they'd make that change. And the impression I got, if they can't get Mario, then it's Manny Diaz. I think that's basically my impression of the situation. As far as the athletic director hire, I think while you would love to have it concurrently with the head coach, Especially if there's going to be a change, I think that, it's a separate hire. And I've been reporting that since November 2nd for The Athletic. That was what I was told directly, that Blake James's future, the athletic director's future, and the head coach's future were two separate items in the eyes of the administration at Miami. So as much as you would like for everything to be lined up perfectly in order, right? You'd hire an athletic director, then a football coach. I do think there is some level of separation in that decision. And so I think that separation is, if Mario wants the job after Friday's Pac-12 championship game and he calls Miami and he says, hey, the money's right, everything you guys are offering is right, then, the athletic director hire could come right after that. It could come right before that. It just depends on whatever order they get things done.
Yeah, that's interesting that at this point, so basically at this point, it really doesn't matter if we get the AD in place before or after. If Mario wants this job and it's open and available to him after the Pac-12 championship, it's his. And then at that point, then whoever's going to come in is probably going to want Mario anyways as the coach, right? If that's basically how we're kind of looking at this.
Yeah, I think it's two separate jobs. I think, one thing I will say, and I talked about this earlier today when I was on with Big O. I went on his show. I go on his show twice a week. The one thing I can say is, some of these athletic directors don't want somebody to overlook football. And I think that's a part that makes a lot of sense. A lot of these athletic directors don't need a babysitter. They don't need somebody overwatching them. And the big thing at Miami is football ultimately. And to take that power away from the next athletic director, I think is a big deal. So while everybody has always said, oh, Alonzo Highsmith or Gino Torretta and one of those guys will be a football czar, I think the reality is, if you're going to go out and get an athletic director who wants to run the thing, he's not going to want somebody overseeing football. And I would say the same thing for the football coach. There's no guarantee Mario Cristobal wants somebody watching his every move, So this whole idea of a football czar, I think, was brought up after Manny Diaz's first season when he struggled and they went 6-7. But I think the construct of the public's eye of, well, what does that mean? I think it means a lot of different things. It could be a chief of staff position. It could be another sort of position that Miami wants that guy to be in, that makes the head coach and the athletic director feel comfortable. So, or it could be just not used at all. That's the whole point, man. Like, all this is so fluid. And I think we all have to get through our heads that while the idea is out there that you hire an athletic director and you get Alonzo to be, Alonzo Highsmith or Gino Torretta to be sort of the football czar, I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen. It just depends on what the football coach wants and what the athletic director wants.
That's crazy. That's an interesting point of view, because I think, yeah, like you said, man, we've all been thinking, well, hey, Zoe's the man, right? Like, yeah, he's gonna come, he's gonna overlook football. Him and the coach are gonna be one in the same, and this is just gonna run smooth. And you don't think about, I hate to say it, but you don't think about egos, you don't think about those kind of things. But look, could you potentially bring in a guy like Zoe as the actual athletic director? Now, obviously, there's been talks that his position and is so much harder now than what he has now than what it would be to be an athletic director. However, there's still things that he doesn't do, and Blue brought this up. There's things that he doesn't do in his position now that he's going to have to do as an athletic director, whether it's easier or harder. So right. I think I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens now within the next couple days, like you said, Manny. Real quick before we let you go, how does this affect recruiting? Because I did mention that this is a 60th ranked recruiting class in America right now, either way. So they're going to have to go in and take a whole bunch of guys in the transfer portal. And I know there's still some guys on the fence that maybe will commit if Manny's here, and might not if he's not. But at the same time, Mario, I think, can get anybody he wants. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't care about that. Well, how do you think this affects recruiting, especially now with all these in-homes that the staff is doing now?
Well, the transfer portal makes things so tricky. It really, I think, limits the number of spots. And Blue, I'm sure, has talked about this with you guys. But, the fact that there's ready-made college football players available in the portal that people can pick up, it certainly limits the spots, I think, for some of these high school kids. And especially guys that are committed to Miami right now. I mean, they may not have other schools to jump to. So while we can sit here and say, hey, guys will stick if Manny sticks, or guys would flee if Manny doesn't stick. I think the reality is, some of these kids, like Ja'Cory Brown, for instance, who I spoke to on Monday, he told me he's coming to Miami regardless of who the coach is, because he's already invested all that time. It's really hard for a quarterback to all of a sudden backtrack and find a new school at this point in the game. He's going to enroll in January, so he's going to be coming to Miami one way or another. I think the real issue is, how many of these guys sign in December or defer to February just because they're waiting to see kind of how the landscape of college football plays out, or B, sign in January, come to Miami, and then immediately transfer because there's a different head coach or a different offensive coordinator who doesn't want them. So I think, how does this affect recruiting? It's a multi-layered question to answer, really. I think ultimately Miami is in a good position because I think they've got a good nucleus of young players that are attractive. I think Tyler Van Dyke and Jake Garcia and Leonard Taylor and James Williams, that attracts guys to want to come play here regardless of who the coaches are. So I think as long as the players stick at Miami, I think Miami's in a good position to recruit and find guys in the transfer portal, because guys who transfer, not only do they want playing time, but if they have their choice, they want to go to a team where they think they can win. And I think a lot of guys that are in the transfer portal or young recruits look at this Miami football team and say, man, there's a lot of young talent on that team right now. I'd like to sign up and be a part of that regardless of who the coach is.
Awesome.
Hey, Manny, who's moving your furniture back in while you're away?
That starts tomorrow, Blue.
Oh,
I got two Rastafarians coming in the morning. Same two guys. These are white Rastafarians. I mean, these are guys you normally don't see. These are two white Rastafarian guys, good dudes, who I hired the first time, and they're coming back. And they're.
You live in Naples. It wouldn't be taking anybody. You live so damn far out. Oh man, I saw that living room, and all of a sudden, I thought of Chinese food real quick.
That brought you back. That brought you back to Dexter. Dexter passed away.
I heard you. So. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah. So,
hey, Manny, thank you so much, man. I know you were with your family. Thanks for taking a couple minutes and shooting the breeze with us and talking a little bit, man.
Manny.
You know that you're the man out here, and you do some great work. So we do appreciate your time. So
no problem, guys. Best of luck to you guys, and have fun doing the show.
We'll see you at the Sun Bowl.
Thank you, man.
I'm not going to El Paso for New Year's, brother. Forget that snow.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Hey, you're always welcome, by the way, man. Anytime.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right, take care.
Oh, man. That was awesome.
He's getting his floors all wood done, and he got all wood floors done, and his whole house was empty. And I was wondering, where the hell is the furniture?
Oh boy, oh boy. I think that's a good way to end this, because I think we can just go around in circles and beat ourselves up and go crazy. Plus, I got to get on with Beast and Robbie Campbell now. Imagine that. That's gonna be fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I got to get on with
That'll
them.
That'll be interesting.
That's going to be an interesting one. A little more coaching carousel. I'm about to tell Paul to just take my place. I'm going cross-eyed here with all of this stuff. Vish, Danny.
Paul's in a different time zone. It's earlier.
Yeah, Paul's earlier.
Yeah, Paul says this should be fine for you.
I work later, so.
Oh, you got to work a late night shift tonight, huh?
Yeah, I work for JetBlue, and we have just one midnight flight a night. So my shift literally starts at 9 p.m. It's so weird.
Wow. That's kind of tough.
Yeah.
Where do you fly to? Bellingham? Where do you fly to?
Oh no, it's just it's Portland to New York.
Oh,
it's just that red eye flight. So, yeah.
Wow.
And we're delayed 2 hours tonight, so this is gonna be fun.
PDX in New York. Oof.
Yeah.
Well,
country.
Thank you guys for coming on, man. I appreciate it, Blue. It's always a pleasure. You brought it strong today. That was awesome, man. We appreciate the passion.
I didn't mean to get Paul Vish's blood pressure.
Hell no. Are you kidding me?
That was good.
Bring that all the time.
That was a good counterpoint, honestly. That was a good counterpoint. I appreciate it.
It's good to have conflicting opinions.
That was great. I mean, the people on the chat think that you're being paid off by Manny and Manny Sr., but what else?
And Epstein.
And Epstein.
Everything is Epstein at this point. Anything goes wrong, it's Epstein.
Blame it on Epstein, man.
That's it, man. Get that guy out of there. Oh, man. Thank you guys again, man. You all were great. Thank you for Manny for coming on the show, Manny Navarro, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. Obviously, follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes, and make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up on this show as well. Thank you guys again. and we'll see you next week. Toodaloo.
All right.
Did I just say toodaloo? Jesus.
You did.
Go Canes.
I was about to hit end, and then you said toodaloo, and I froze, man.
Toodaloo.
I don't know why I did
All right, toodaloo, everyone.
that.